Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to deliver these remarks on the occasion of Africa Day, which actually this year coincides with the 60th anniversary and celebration of the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, which was established in May 1963 in the historic city of Addis Ababa. Coincidentally, the theme for this year, the African Union theme for this year, as designated by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government, is, and I quote, acceleration of the AFCFTA implementation, end quote. The AFCFTA is an incredibly important tool for implementation of the vision of an integrated Africa as articulated and expressed by our founding mothers and fathers of the Organization of African Unity. The AFCFTA was established on March 21st, 2018, when 44 countries signed the agreement establishing the AFCFTA, and since then, significant progress has been achieved. As we speak, 47 countries have ratified the agreement establishing the AFCFTA. Implementation is in full mode, and the Secretariat of the AFCFTA is fully operational in Accra, Ghana, with the full support of the government of Ghana. We're at a stage today where I'm very pleased to report to you that trading under rules, preferential rules of the AFCFTA has commenced. Last year, we traded up to 96 products under rules of the AFCFTA. Preferential treatment that countries trading under the AFCFTA provided to one another is the basis for the trade that took place and has been taking place since then. What is remarkable about the trade that is taking place under the AFCFTA rules is that for the first time since the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, for the first time we see regional trade across the African continent, West Africa trading with East Africa, North Africa trading with Central and Southern Africa. We truly are in a position where we can say that regional trade across regions of the African continent is taking place on the basis of the preferential treatment of the AFCFTA. The trade that we see is inclusive, large corporations, and more importantly, smallholder farmers, as we saw last year with the export of tea, value-added production, tea that was exported from Kenya to West Africa, which was produced by smallholder farmers who were organized into cooperatives. There are other examples of trade that is taking place under rules of the AFCFTA, which includes small medium enterprises and young entrepreneurs. It is precisely this type of inclusivity of trade that we believe will create job opportunities in Africa and will boost intra-Africa trade. Since the establishment of the AFCFTA Secretariat in Accra, Ghana, as I mentioned earlier, much progress has been recorded. In the area of rules of origin, we have converged on over 88% of all of products traded in Africa. Going forward, these products will be traded on the basis of a single rule of origin. We have an AFCFTA tariff book, which provides certainty and predictability for economic operators. Certificates of origin are being issued by designated authorities across the African continent, and once again, enabling our economic operators to expand their export markets to new markets that the AFCFTA is opening. Much work remains to be done. We have concluded 3 protocols that were adopted by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government in February this year: the Protocol on Investment, the Protocol on Competition, and the Protocol on Intellectual Property Rights are now part of the pillars of implementation of the AFCFTA. 2 more additional protocols will be concluded by June this year, and these protocols are the Protocol on Digital Trade, which will enable the digitization and promote the digitization of trade in Africa. We are also on track to conclude the Protocol on Women and Youth in Trade, which is an important protocol if we want to achieve our aspirations of access to trade for women-owned businesses and young entrepreneurs. All of this would not have been achieved without the support of our institutional partners, our development finance institutions in Africa, Afrexim Bank, Africa Finance Corporation, as well as the African Development Bank and other development finance institutions who have committed to support the AFCFTA to ensure that we move beyond being just a trade agreement, that we develop and deploy tools for implementation of the AFCFTA. I'm most grateful for their support, which over the last 3 years has enabled implementation of the AFCFTA to be accelerated. Some of the tools that I referred to, which we have introduced with our strategic partners, are the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund, which we have recently operationalized with Afrexim Bank, and we have jointly mobilized over $1 billion towards implementation of the AFCFTA, and we have committed to mobilize up to $10 billion to support state parties of the AFCFTA who need the support for implementation of the agreement. We have also introduced a digital payments platform, the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System, which will enable trade in local currency, which also is an important deliverable for small medium enterprises to enable them to trade across the African continent at affordable and cost-effective terms. Small medium enterprises create millions and millions of jobs across the African continent. And so as we open the market of the AFCFTA, we have to make sure that they are at the center of benefits. As I conclude, let me once again invoke the aspirations of the founding mothers and fathers of the Organization of African Unity. As we celebrate 60 years of its establishment, we know that the journey ahead remains challenging, but the AFCFTA has offered us a very unique opportunity to take a step forward in the integration of our economy in our continent, and a step forward in the creation of a single market for the African continent. And so not only do we stand on the shoulders of the founding mothers and fathers of the Organization of African Unity, but we should build on what they started, and we should complete the journey that they started of an integrated Africa. Thank you very much, and I wish all of us a very happy celebration of Africa Day.